Well, welcome everyone. We are so glad that you're joining us tonight. We are the YL Unstoppables, five women that met in a mentorship group with Melissa Pepping and have joined bonds. Yes, five, although there's only four of us here tonight. Um, Susie is with us in spirit. So we have just connected, formed a bond that is unbelievable, and have decided to join forces and help one another on our goals to get oils into every home and work our Young Living business. So we're very grateful that you're here, that you've chosen to spend this hour with us. And so we look forward to sharing what we know, and then you can also share what you know later. There will be a time for questions and answers, and we by no means have all the answers, but that's why we work together. So we are better together, and that's what we've found as the YL Unstoppables is we work better together. So we're glad that you can be a part of our class tonight. And so we're going to talk about feelings. And anytime I say this song, I want to burst out or say this word, I want to burst out in song. Feelings, nothing more than feelings. So, anyway, I have to get that out of the way or else it's going to be bugging me all evening. So, Sherry's normally the one that handles that, the musical aspect. But anyway, so we all have emotions, we all have feelings. Sometimes they're way up here, sometimes they're down here, and sometimes they're who knows where. And it can be challenging to get a grasp and a handle on controlling our emotions and learning how to process them. So we're going to go over things fairly quickly, but informationally. Um, and please, by all means, if you have questions, jot them down, put them in the chat, whatever, and we will answer them at the end of the class portion. So, um, oils smell good. There's a pleasant aroma, and um, but they're more than just smell goods, right? So they can be relaxing to the mind, like lavender during a massage, and it's because of oils. When I first started using them was way back when I was pregnant with my first son, um, and I thought I am going to use oils because I wanted to have a natural birthing process. So at that time, and this was back in 2011, and I went to the store. I looked up some recipes that would help during labor. And I found one that used lavender. So I went to the grocery store and I got lavender. And because I didn't know. And I used it and it did absolutely nothing. And I didn't even think it smelled that great. But I thought, hey, these are supposed to work. And it didn't. Well, it's because they weren't authentic. The majority of the oils that you buy in on a store shelf are adulterated in some fashion. Just because it says pure on the bottle, um, you don't know what all is in the bottle, and how it's distilled makes a big difference as well. There's so much that goes into that. Um, the quality of the oil matters if you're wanting it to work in the way that you are desiring it to work. So, you don't want something distilled with chemical solvents because then that chemical that's distilling it gets into the oil, and then that affects the therapeutic benefits. It's also like adding chemicals right to your drinking water. If you don't want to ingest that chemical, then why are we using it to distill? So at that time, way back when I was pregnant with my son, I thought all oils were the same, and they're not. Okay. So it was about 6 months after my daughter was born. My son had just turned 2 that I started using, that I was introduced to Young Living essential oils. And I was like, oh my word. And they worked and they slept. And I was hooked from that point on. So, one of the most powerful uses of essential oils is for the brain, for emotions. It's where oils really get to show off. And I even thought at that point that oils for emotions or for higher spiritual awareness was kind of hokey. Honestly, 7.5 years ago, I thought, well, that sounds a little weird that I need to use frankincense to have a deeper spiritual awareness. No, I'm close enough with God. I don't need frankincense to make that happen. But there's a whole experience that happens when you smell the oil that Christ used at his birth, or, when the three wise men presented him with frankincense. So that's a whole nother story too. But I use the word authentic because I don't want you to have anything else in your diffuser that you don't want in your brain. Our brain controls our body. And so we want to make sure that what goes in and on our body and in our brains is premium, high quality, and absolutely of the purest of pure, is the way I like to put it. So if you have a tainted, cheap oil, just toss it out. It's worthless, pretty much. You may have thought, oh, I'm going to go ahead and use that in the diffuser because I don't want to waste it. It's not worth your health to have that in your body. So just go ahead and get rid of it and get the stuff that actually is going to help you and not hurt you. So why is that so important? Well, the one place you don't want to use cheap oil is when you're inhaling it because of its quick effect into your brain and into your emotions and your memory. So you see, when you diffuse an oil, you get it into the body faster than any other method. Not to mention, you don't just get it into part of the body, you get it right into the center of the human brain in about 3 seconds. 3 seconds. And that's super fast. So it takes 26 seconds to absorb if you're applying it to the skin topically, working through 7 layers of skin, muscle tissue, and past the body's defense systems to get into the bloodstream. And then from there, it's dispersed through the circulatory system or your blood vessels if you want that version. And it also filters through the liver. So if you take an oil internally, it has to bypass even more bodyguards. So an oil taken internally goes into the gut, and the hydrochloric acid that's in your stomach, it breaks down there, and then before it gets absorbed through the colon wall with its villi. So it has a lot more steps to go through. But oils diffused in the air, however, bypass all of that and get right to where you're needing the help. They enter the nasal cavity, past the olfactory membranes at the top of the nose, so they're like back there, I can't really point to it, and go right through the blood-brain barrier. They are fast moving, and I don't know about you, but I don't want cheap oil to have quick access to my brain. So, these tiny molecules do what exactly? And yes, they are very tiny. Part of the reason is oil molecules are actually smaller than viruses. And viruses are not even they're even smaller than that. They're like 0.00 something microns. So oils are even smaller than viruses. That means they can cross the blood-brain barrier, like I mentioned before. They have access to our limbic system in the brain, which is the emotional control center of the entire human body. So, wow. It's like our dashboard to the car, okay? You can check on your gas, your oil, your speed, and just about everything at a single glance. So the limbic system, or the limbic lobe, is kind of the place I would like to hang out if I'm working on my emotions. So if I had to choose a second spot for some work on my emotions, it would be the gut. Because the gut, there's like this direct connection between your gut and your brain. Many call it the second brain. And some even wonder if the gut is maybe the actual brain and vice versa. So it's it's really interesting how much of our health is not just physical health, but emotional, mental, spiritual health has to deal with our gut. So, if you have a grumpy kid, do you handle stress poorly? Does an incident from your childhood still have you afraid of the dark? Do you get tense in a room with lots of people? Are there painful memories that you hold on to that you're sure are keeping you from moving forward? Do you find yourself at the mercy of your emotions to the point where they affect your day to day life? If so, then you are in the right place tonight. So it's not that any one oil will cure these things, but they will get into the limbic lobe and do some purging that will allow the body to do its own healing. Our bodies were made in an incredible way, and when given the right tools, they can do amazing, amazing things. So that's the science of emotional oiling, and we'll get to that in a little bit. The goal, though, is to get you oiling without thinking about it. How many of you, and you can raise your hand if you have your video on, but how many of you have oils all over the house and you might go an entire day without using one? Okay? It happens. And a lot of us on here are seasoned, what I call seasoned oilers, okay? But there are times when I'm like, I've talked to my bestie and I have all this going on. She's like, have you tried this, and this? I'm like, oh, oops. Oh, I should, yeah, I should probably use my oils. So it happens to everybody. But the goal is to get you to use them without even thinking about it. I just got done reading Atomic Habits. Highly, highly recommend you read that book. So, so good. You can get it on audio as well. A game changer. And it talks about creating these tiny little habits. But once you create that habit, it just happens and you don't really have to think about it. And that's kind of where we want to get you with using the oils for emotional support. So just make it an instinct. I think our biggest issue is that we just forget to turn the diffuser on, right? I know I do. So it's not that we don't think it will be amazing. We just get busy and life happens. So I want you to get to a place where you're oiling on autopilot. It just becomes a part of your routine. You do it without thinking. You walk in the door after you get home from work. You have water sitting next to the diffuser with the oil you want to have ready to go. Put the drops of oil in, then add the water, and in 60 seconds, your living room is filled with harmony. And you're like, ah. So, and there's some more information that we can share in the group on our YL Unstoppables page for some how, kind of oil ideas to use each day, and we can post that later. So girls, help remind me to do that. So half the battle, so the more you oil, the more you're working on your emotions without probably even thinking about it. Half the battle is just getting the diffuser into the on position. Or even sometimes if you don't have time to mess with a diffuser, just open the bottle and smell it. Like seriously, this is a natural diffuser. You don't need to have the diffuser on. Like I have mine on back there, but just opening this, taking a deep breath is enough. And you're like 3 seconds, it's already there. So this is present time, by the way. We'll talk about that a little later. So if you're feeling a bit overloaded and and you do have the Young Living Feelings collection, grab present time, take a whiff. It's a really, really good oil for focusing on the here and now and keeping your eyes and your mind where it needs to be. So we're going to start with the tools to emotionally release, because sometimes we hold on to things, we don't even realize it. We need to just let things go. Emotions get stored in the liver and in the kidneys, other organs, and then things don't work right. So we need to work on getting rid of the emotions that no longer serve us. And so for that, we're going to the big dogs. Young Living's founder, Gary Young, developed the Feelings collection, and that collection contains 6 5 ml bottles. Tammy's holding it up there, of emotional oils, including harmony, forgiveness, inner child, present time, release, and valor. And to talk more about that, Sherry is going to take the wheel.
Yes, I am. I love taking the wheel. Okay. So, thank you, Lene. I am Sherry Hester. For those of you who don't know me, I am here in Savannah, Georgia. I've been oiling for 12 years. I have 4 grown kids and 4 doggies, and I was an actress in another life. So, but I want to follow up with what Lene was saying about how to make oils routine. One way that Young Living has made it so easy for us, and Charisse was just showing how she used the Great Day Protocol, right? Like that makes it easy for you because you have that kit. And and again, Young Living has given us, Gary Young has given us the Feelings Kit. So we're going to dive into the Feelings Kit right now. I'm going to share my screen with you because there's some really great graphics that I think you can go ahead and screen share if you would like, or not screen share, you can go ahead and screenshot. I'm going to take my little thing off of here at the top. Do you all see is that black thing at the top, is that bothering you? I can't
It's
seem to
gone.
take it off. Oh, beautiful. Okay, lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, so the Feelings Kit, and as as Lene said, I'm gonna just reiterate what comes in the Feelings Kit. That is right. There are 6 5 ml bottles: harmony, forgiveness, inner child, present time, release, and valor. All right, let's dive into these one at a time. I would choose to know. There we go. Whoa, go back there. It's going. Okay. So let's just talk about Valora a little bit. Okay. What I'm going to do first, guys, is I'm going to go through each oil in the kit and just talk a little bit about what it does. And then after that, I'm going to talk about Gary's emotional protocol that uses all these and how to use them in that protocol fashion. Okay. So Valor is first up. You can actually put Valor on the soles of both of your feet at nighttime, along with Highest Potential Blend. I can't wait to do this tonight. Both of these oils were created to erase limited thinking, and also Valor balances and equalizes the body's energy. So you will just wake up in the morning more self-assured and ready to start your day. All right, Harmony oil. Massage 1 drop of Harmony along the 7 points in the body that follow the spine. So starting back at the tailbone and moving all the way up the spine, you're going to pass through the sacrum, the lumbar, the dorsal, the cervical, and the end at the pineal right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to, if you can, we're going to talk about an alternative if you can't do it to yourself. But what you would want to do is pull it all the way up the spine and end right at your forehead here. You can also massage Harmony on the crown of your head. Let's just talk about the crown of your head for a second. I always thought the crown of my head was right here on the top of your head. But no, the crown of your head is almost like if you were wearing a baseball cap, or as Tammy likes to say, if you have a messy bun, it's right beneath your messy bun, or it's right at the bottom of your baseball cap, right? So it's really right back here. I don't know if you can see me, but it's right back here. So you can also just massage the Harmony on the back. That's the crown of your head. Harmony balances the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous systems, which gives us a feeling of confidence. So it's wonderful for building your confidence. So this is a quote from Gary. We've got lots of Gary quotes, which I love. Here's a Gary quote. The biggest sin is not having confidence in yourself. He who lacks confidence lacks life. Forgiveness oil. You can apply forgiveness oil around the navel with your right hand going clockwise several times. Think of some situations where you might need to forgive yourself or others. You know, we beat up on ourselves all the time. We are our worst enemy. But everyone makes mistakes, right? We know that. I don't know. Why is it so hard to forgive ourselves? Unforgiveness is the most common form of physical, mental, and spiritual disease. That's amazing. Unforgiveness, right? So it does not take unforgiveness does not make the offending party sick. It actually makes us sick. Well, I've heard it said that unforgiveness is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Doesn't work, right? So here's another Gary quote, and this is a good one. So Gary says, first, this is how you forgive and use your forgiveness oil. 1, forgive yourself for allowing the person to affect your health and happiness. 2, forgive the other person for any harm he or she may have caused you. This need not be done directly with the person being forgiven, but as an inner adjustment on your part. 3, give the other person permission to forgive you. 4, see the good in the situation. And 5, be thankful for the experience and the lesson it has taught you. Inhale and apply forgiveness oil while going through these steps. Then repeat as often as necessary to clear the feeling of unforgiveness. All right, next up is release oil. Negative energy goes into the blood and then it goes into the liver where the toxins can remain trapped. So the liver becomes this storage place for all of this stuff: anger, resentment, bitterness, hatred, jealousy, envy, addictions, and all the destructive feelings, right? Apply a few drops of release oil over your liver area and then drink lots and lots of water. You can even do a liver cleanse. Sarah Harnish, I have not done this myself, but one is recommended, the Miracle Gallbladder and Liver Cleanse by Andreas Moritz. I will put that in the chat when I'm finished in case any of you are interested in that. Okay, present time oil that Lene already told us a little about. When we live in the past or dwell on the future, we are not being productive in the present. Gary says to energize 3 drops of the present time by making clockwise circles with the oil in the palm of your hand, and then apply it to your thymus, the gland that's right under your sternum and your breastbone. And that will keep you focused on the tasks of the day. Inner child. I love this quote from Gary. When you are a child, all things are possible. There are no limitations. When you find your inner child, you have found your true self. The child in you is your creativity. Isn't that amazing? So whenever we feel like our creativity is being blocked, this is it. Let's remember how we were as kids, right? So apply 1 drop to the crown of your head and remember where that is. All right, next up, we're going to just talk about how Gary says to utilize it. It's pretty much what we said, but I'm going to give you the order just once again to rehash this. So the first thing you do is apply valor on the soles of both your feet every night. The second thing is you apply harmony. If you can't apply it down your back, you're going to apply it to that crown of your head. The third thing you do is apply forgiveness around the navel with the right hand, going clockwise. The fourth thing you do is apply the release oil under the tongue, hold on just a second there, or over your liver or your VitaFlex liver points. And we talked a little bit about our VitaFlex points last week, which I'm going to promise you put in our group. I'm going to show you where those reflex points are. So what Tammy just taught me today, which is fascinating, is that when you put something, an oil under your tongue that's sublingual, that is not internalizing it. As Lene just told us, when we take things internally, it goes through your digestive system, right? So Tammy pointed out to me that when you do something sublingually, it is a topical application of the oil. I love that. So I've never tried release under my tongue, but you know what? I think I'm going to do it tonight. Okay, then you do present time. Apply 3 drops of present time by making clockwise circle with the oil in your palm, and then apply it over your thymus, remember? Okay, and then you apply inner child to the crown of your head. Gary said, use the feelings collection morning and night for 30 days, and you will feel enthusiastic and magnetic. Do it and see how you feel. And with that, I'm going to share a Gary video because he's our incredible founder, and it just shows what goes into all of these oils that we are using and talking about tonight.
Although people have been growing, harvesting, and distilling essential oil botanicals for thousands of years, Gary Young knew he needed to improve these existing systems if he were going to accomplish his goal of bringing essential oils to the world. With the natural differences between crops of botanicals, Gary made many adjustments and modified his system according to what he observed. The early years of harvesting botanicals and distilling essential oils brought about many changes, transforming the process from traditional, familiar approaches to new, innovative, and much more efficient production methods.
And I'm on the job bringing the best balsam oil in the world to you.
Sorry. All right. So with that, I believe I am passing it to Tammy. There you go, girl.
Can you say all the feels? I love those Gary videos. I never had the privilege of meeting him. I know there's at least a couple of you in this group here who did get to meet him. And yeah, so videos is all I have to go on. But Mary, I will meet Mary one day. Sherry, one observation. Okay, you guys just watch me take the cellophane off of this. I have all the oils in here. So I have this collection. I've never opened it because I already have all the oils. Do you know what I just noticed, Sherry? They're all your favorite color. They're all purple. That's what
I know.
Okay. So, I am going to talk to you a little bit about understanding the science of how oils work in the brain. As soon as I put that kit aside. Okay. Emotions are a topic that's not very well understood. How does an oil actually access your brain? Before we look at each oil individually and maybe talk about some of the protocols, let's take a look at some of the science and lay a little bit of foundation to give you a little bit better understanding. So, always on overload. Anybody else ever have that feeling? It's like this part of the text was written for me. There's a quote in here by Sarah Harnish. That's where we got the bulk of this class. I once read that the average Sunday Chicago Tribune, so the Sunday paper, the Chicago Tribune, contains more content than one person in the 1800s would ever come in contact with for their entire life if they lived to be 100 years old. So that one Sunday paper, we are constantly have information thrown at us. And if you think about today, social media, you think about movies, you think about news, you think of things that we read, you think about all of this information that is constantly being thrown at us. And our body builds up emotional responses to the things we see, especially think about everything that has happened in this world in the last year and a half. You internalize this stuff, and then your body has a response. And you keep seeing things in the news and you keep interacting with things out in the public, and your body keeps repeating these things again and again and again. Our bodies build emotional responses to the things that we see, hear, and experience. And then those stored emotions repeat each time you have that encounter again. Essential oils assist our body with barriers. If you look at a single molecule, it contains hundreds of constituents. Some of them go by names like aldehydes and esters. These two particular constituents are very, very calming on the body, on the central nervous system specifically. They allow us to relax instead of the body building and storing emotions. One reason that oils work for emotions is simply because of the constituents that they're made up of. Those little tiny molecules that Lene was talking of, like the super small little molecules, help plants to process stress. Think about like a little lavender bush growing happily in the field, And then it rains and there's big windstorms and there's fungus and there's bugs and there's flooding and there's droughts. So this one little plant is subject to all of those things. And God created plants with things called oleoresins, and they have the constituents that help to keep the plant safe. So why not harvest those plants and let those oleoresins help our body? What happens when you have a really strong emotion? Okay, so close your eyes for a minute. What happens when I say that a very, very dear friend of yours was in a car accident? What happens when I tell you your house is on fire? What happens when I tell you your child is really, really struggling with some personal stuff at school? Scientists tell us that you can visibly see those emotions in the brain. It's like if you take a pebble on the water and you drop it, and then you see all those ripples across the water. That's what happens in our brains when those stressful situations happen. I know for me, like every time my pager goes off, I'm a volunteer EMT. And even if my pager goes off when I'm sitting at my desk for work and I know I can't go, I get that same feeling every time my pager goes off. So emotions. You think about it, you tuck it away, you stuff it way down deep in there because you don't want to deal with the pain or the aggravation or whatever. So that unfortunately, that's not the way the body is designed. You can see scientifically in the human body, you can try to block your emotions because they're uncomfortable. But most of the time, it gets stored in your body somewhere, and hopefully someplace away from your heart and your brain. When those stressful situations occur, your body produces what's called the fight or flight response, and that activates your endocrine system. Your hormones kick into high gear and flood your body with adrenaline. So that fight or flight is you are either going to take off to get away from whatever this perceived threat is, or you are geared up, you're going to pack a lunch, you're going to stay there and fight. You can visibly see it happen. If you had a strong enough microscope, you could actually watch this happen to the body. It's trauma. We've all felt when our heart rate, like when you're watching a football game for me, like when it's like overtime and you're waiting for the first team to score and you are like right there with your favorite sports team, you can feel that adrenaline, right? You can feel your heart rate elevate. Your body, what happens to that adrenaline after that episode? Your body gets rid of some of it. Your body ignores some of it. And some of it gets actually stored in your body. And the part that gets left can sometimes fester into wounds that never really heal. Not so much the sports game stuff, but some of those deeper traumatic things that you just kind of try to suppress so that you don't have to deal with it. When we think about toxins, the average cell in the human body is capable of holding up to 600 times its size in toxins. Just think about that for a minute. 600 times. So when we think of toxins, we think of like, everybody in this group talks about, okay, we know how to read labels. We know not to use this shampoo. We know not to use these dryer sheets. We know not to use whatever dish soap, right? We educate people on this, but we don't think about how toxic our emotions can be. The memory storage gets flooded with these hormones that cause emotions getting recalled again and again and again. Like I said, with like when my pager goes off, it stimulates that same response every time it happens. Something that triggers lifelong health issues like panic attacks and anxiety. These are the after effects of that fight or flight. Some would argue that toxins stored in certain parts of the body can actually cause physical pain, like a backache. I know that I have underlying trauma from a car accident. And when I start to feel like below the wellness line, if I start to feel off, the first place that I feel pain is that weak spot in my back. So emotions, I never thought of it until I started reading this, but I'm going to pay attention now. When I feel like really stressed out, I'm going to see if that's where I feel it. These emotions can get stored in your weak places. So just be aware. Dr. John Upledger calls these wounds somato-emotional cysts. I hope I said that right. He said that they are a defense response that is encoded, walled off from the rest of the body, and then just never resolved. You just stuff it way down deep in there and you just don't want to deal with it. So you just pack it away. So the human body, I think it was Lene that told us, the human body is actually designed to protect itself and to heal itself. The idea that emotions can be physically stored is a bit of an unusual concept. So let me explain it in a little bit simpler terms, so maybe we can kind of wrap our brains around it. The body takes these kinds of protective measures all the time. We are aware of some of them. If you've ever heard of like kidney stones, gallstones, the body is like taking toxins and trying to deal with them and then flush them out of the body. They can cause trouble. My husband has a history of kidney stones. We just never thought of any of these toxins as actually starting from something emotional. Your body can be changed by emotions you experience. A feeling sparked in our mind will translate as a peptide being released somewhere. Organs, skins, tissues, muscles, and endocrine glands all have peptide receptors on them and can access and store emotional information. That means emotional memory is stored in many places of the body. Access to emotional memories anywhere in the peptide receptor network in any number of ways. Unexpressed emotions are literally lodged in the body, but simply acknowledging emotions that are expressed. In being expressed, emotions can be released, even old memories that are stored in the body somewhere. Allowing your emotions to surface into awareness is the beginning of emotional exploration. You can literally have emotions stored just about anywhere. So you think about like that roll around your midsection you can't get rid of, or like the badonkadonk back there that you can't seem to shed. I'm quite sure that's where all of mine is. So if you have a hard time shedding that stuff, just know that it can have an emotional root, and finding a way to help surface that and deal with it is kind of what we're talking about tonight. Many doctors are recognizing that a number of diseases are caused by emotional problems that link back to infancy or something that happened many, many years ago. Forgotten traumatic experiences affect every aspect of our life, even how we make decisions. We'll be limited by fear or self-worth or worry. If you focus on those feelings, Gary says you can fix most aspects of your life. Oils pass into the emotional brain and bring us to things that we have forgotten so that we can deal with them. It's like, let it out, let's get it out here so we can deal with it. Thought equals frequency. Oils are registered in the body as intent or direct energy. When you apply an oil to your feet, it can be saturated into your cells within 30 seconds and increase your frequency. This actually is my frequency roller. I took, there's rose in here, there's Northern Lights Black Spruce, there's Idaho Balsam Fir, Sacred Frankincense, because those all have a very, very high frequency. And then I added orange, jade lemon, lemon myrtle, I don't know. I added some more things to make it smell just a little bit. I don't like the really woodsy things all by themselves. So some for frequency, some for pretty. And that's what I wear as my perfume. Okay, so people often ask if they have an emotional release session, doesn't mean they won't be able to remember the memory. Unfortunately not. You're going to dig it up, you're going to remember it. But when you dig it up, Now we can deal with it. I can give, let's see. You basically, what you do is you bring the pain to the surface so that you can flush it out of your body, like you're with your kidney stones. They collect all this stuff so you can flush it out of your body. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Ms. Shelby.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. Thank you. Like Tammy said, my name is Shelby. I've been oiling for 6 years. And I just want to start off with, let's give ourselves grace. Okay. So I know, I'm last speaking, and I'm going to wrap it up and stuff. And I have my notes and where I want to go and whatnot. But feelings are real. Vibration is real. Okay. And so with that being said, things come up. Okay. And we're not going to shove them down. Okay. We're going to face them head on. But with that, I just want you to give yourself grace. I just want you to know that you're doing the best that you can do. Just like your parents, they did the best that they can do. Hold on. Henry, can you go up front real quick? Go get an insurance packet, go up front. And so give yourself grace. So when you do any of this emotional release or use any of the emotional oils or start journaling or go on this journey, because that's what it is, right? It's a journey. We're always growing, always learning, always moving forward. Give yourself grace and love, and just know that you only know what you know until you know. Okay. There's my spill. I'm just feeling all these emotions. I'm just like taking all this on, and that's okay. And that's all right. So how do I know what to use, or how do I know what to do? That's like a common question with emotions and feelings and using oils in this sense. Okay. So you're in luck, because there is no right or wrong. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't need a prescription. You don't need anything except intuition, except reference guides and books and friends and your oils. Okay, let's get this out right away. Oils don't work by osmosis. You don't use it, they won't work. Okay, trial and error, and getting books is the easy button. Okay, so I'm going to talk about thank you. Are you going to go up front? Hold on 1 second. Here you go. Go up front, please.
No, let me go ahead.
Okay, quiet. So I'm going to talk about this book called Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils by Carolyn Mean. I think Sherry or someone can put that in there, but this is the book to go to. This is it. So if you do not have this, you need it. Okay, you need it. It makes it easy. Okay, easy button. So that's how you know what to do, right? You just use your intuition. You have the oils. You get reference. You get your book. Okay, and then so let me show you real quick how you could do this and how easy it is. Okay, because that's what it is. It's easy, right? It's easy. So you just think of an emotion. I already have one open. An emotion that I was looking at is lost, because a lot of us have these emotions. Okay, and if you don't know what emotion you're thinking, if you don't know what emotion you're dealing with, journal. I don't remember who said it, but get it out. Get it outside of your brain. Put it on paper. Record yourself saying how you feel. Because sometimes when it's in our head, we don't really realize it, but like recording yourself and listening to yourself of how you're feeling, writing it out on paper, get it out of your body so you can assess the situation. Because 9 times out of 10, it's worse in here. And once you get it on paper, you can debunk it. How are you feeling? And then you write it down and you're like, well, is that really how I'm feeling? Or is that just something that happened today and it's overwhelming me, right? Okay, so I looked up the feeling of lost. Okay, so with this book, it has all the different emotions, feeling of loss. And so there's an opposite. So everything has an opposite. Okay, so happy, the opposite is sad or happy. Okay, what's the other one that I wrote down? Joy and anger. Okay, so there's an opposite to every emotion. Okay, so you're feeling lost. So the other side would be direction. You're feeling lost, you need direction. Okay, and then in the book, easy button, in the book, it says, I connect with my inner knowing. So it's going to give you an affirmation. Okay, so you're feeling lost, you need direction. I connect with my inner knowing, and it tells you what oil. It tells you what oil, it tells you the affirmation, and it tells you where to put it. So the oil's grounding. Okay, and then it gives you like a little chart that you can look, and I'm just going to tell you that the point is like on your lower back. Okay, right at the base of your spine on your lower back. So you're going to put your oil there, and you're going to think, you know, you'll smell it, and you'll say, you know, I connect with my inner knowing. Okay, and you can say that over and over again. You could journal. I love to journal. Henry, please. And then, so that's the easy button with this book. There are other books, Feelings Buried Alive. Okay, Feelings Buried Alive is another good one. I can't remember, Sherry, we put Feelings Buried Alive in the chat, who it's by. There's also an app. Okay, I'm telling you guys, this is why I love Young Living, and this is why I love everything associated. Easy button, right? There's an app that goes with Feelings Buried Alive. It is $4.99 one-time purchase, which is, you know, good. This one, my upline, Rhonda Favano, wrote this. It's called Conquering Toxic Emotions. This one is easy. It's a quick little read. It talks about frequency and energy, gives you a reflexology chart. In the back, it gives you like an emotional questionnaire. Go front, please. Go front. I'll be there in a second. Go. And so, Conquering Toxic Emotions. I love releasing emotional patterns with essential oils. I love to use Feelings Buried Alive is really good. Another question is, when do I use them? When do I use emotional oils? Oh, yes. And You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hayes. Louise Hayes is really, really good. And she does like journals, and she does regular books, and she's all about the affirmations and the journaling and getting to the root cause of what's going on. So when do you use them? Anytime that you feel like you're going through a transition, or your family's going through a transition. So when school starts, that's a big transition. You know, kids are handling these emotions, you know, all the things, all the scary things. When you're moving, when you're going through any kind of transitional big things, right? Starting sports. You could even use it if something's going on in your family and there's just a lot of tension. Put it in your diffuser right away before the family gets home. Before the family even gets home, have the house powered up and ready to go. You know, so they walk in, boom, they smell it, 3 seconds, done. 3 seconds, done. It's easy button. Okay. So that's when, anytime, right? Anytime, start your diffusers, using them intentional, and use them with purpose. Okay. So you can make your own protocol. Yes, we have a feelings kit. Yes, we have the Great Day protocol, but you can make a protocol for yourself. So whatever you're dealing with, you just choose how many days, 3 days, 7 days. Okay. So say you're feeling lost. Like I said, like my example was, you're just feeling lost. Okay. So you're going to take your grounding oil, and for 3 days, every morning, you're going to wake up and you're going to smell it, and you're going to put that oil on, and you're going to set your intention for the day. And then you're going to put it in your diffuser every day. That's your protocol. That's a protocol. Anything that you do consecutively and you set up for yourself and you have purpose and intention, that's a protocol. So you set up the protocol to help yourself out. Okay. Because listen, you have everything inside of you. You have all the answers inside of you. You have everything at your fingertips. You have these oils, you have friends, you have books, you have counseling, you have journaling. You can do this. Okay. You can do this. So use your oils with purpose, make a protocol if you want, apply topically, diffuse at night. Words of life. Okay. That's what I want to talk about, is words of life. Words can either destroy or kill or give life. Okay. So the thoughts that you're thinking, and Tammy kind of touched about this, I think we all kind of did. The thoughts that we're thinking is the thoughts are what's creating the cycle, right? So if you are having negative thoughts and you're telling yourself horrible things, first of all, stop it. If you don't want, like, if what you're thinking, you wouldn't want your kids to think or your friends to think, then why are you thinking it yourself? Okay. You have to live with yourself. Like you do. You have to live within yourself. So stop being mean to yourself. Okay. And be nice and give yourself grace. And so words are life. So making an affirmation, like I said, get the emotions out, get the emotions, the feelings, write them out on paper, say them out loud, and then debunk them. Okay. Why is this a lie? Well, it's a lie because it's not true. You know, don't take on other people's stuff, right? You are your own center of support. You make yourself happy or sad. No one else. You allow it. Okay, no one can hurt your feelings unless you let them. I know that's kind of hard to take on, but nobody can hurt your feelings unless you let them. Okay, so take responsibility and write it down, get it out of paper, know that you can overcome anything, right? Give yourself grace, give yourself love. And then even in the Bible, it talks about, Proverbs 18:4, a person's words can be life giving water. Words of true wisdom are refreshing as a bubbling spring, a bubbling brook. There's tons in the Bible of just, of words. So you have affirmations or ways out. In this book, it's called like a way out. Okay. Last thing. So there's basically 4 steps to this process to emotional healing. Identify your problem. Okay. So identify what is the emotion. What do you think is going on? What's the other side of the emotion? Okay, so what's the other side? What's the way out? What's the affirmation? And what's the oil with it? And then use the oils. Use the oils. Don't make it crazy complicated. Don't think that you have to, do all this crazy stuff. Yeah, good job. You're working out. Can you go get Zoe for me real quick? Yeah. Okay, go get her. Thank you. There's also a technique called aroma freedom, and there's a book by Benjamin Perkins that's also another good resource. And he has a book, and there's like a technique, so you could look that up, aromafreedom.com. I mentioned feelings buried alive, never die. We've mentioned releasing emotional patterns with essential oils. Hold on, baby, hold on. And we've also the one by Deborah, Conquering Toxic Emotions by Rambo Fivano. Okay, and that is basically. Hold on, baby. Yes, say hi. So say hi. Hi. Okay. Hi. Hi. Okay, now go and I'll be there in 1 second. Hi. Yes. Hi. So that is how do you know what to do, when to use the oils, hold on, how to use them purposely, and all the resources and encouragement that you need to know that you can get through all the things. Okay, and I'm going to pass it on to Sherry to tell us of like what's coming up and what to look forward to, and maybe we can open up some question and answer before my kids get on here again. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Shelby. Well, yeah, first, let's just see if anyone has anything that they would like to say or any questions that you guys may have. We love to, end the class with a little chat. So if you have anything you'd like to say, now's the time. Okay, so I will just continue. If you feel so led, just raise your hand or unmute yourself and interrupt me. We just want to let you know that our next class, next Tuesday, we come here every Tuesday night at 8:30 my time, 8:30, 7:30, 5:30, whatever your time zone is. It's the same time as you came here tonight, every single Tuesday. And thank you so much, Cherise. Thanks for coming. Thank you. And every single Tuesday. So that's all you got to know. But next Tuesday, we're going to be doing one of our favorite things that we do monthly is mindset. Mindset matters. So we're going to be exploring going more into that. I think we've done 2 so far, right? 2 or 3 maybe. But we love it. That's how we all came together. So we love talking about mindset and how important it is. So next week, same time, same place, we'll be doing that. Okay. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting, girls? Anyone else have anything at all before we check out? We're so grateful that you all spent this hour with us. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It means so much to us, and I hope you got something out of it.
It was a good class.
Thank you. Thank you, Janet. Thank you so much. All right. Well, we'll see you all here next week. Bye-bye. Have a great night.